Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to our second installment of our managerial meetings on ways to improve Bite Core. I've uploaded our PowerPoint presentation, and I want to make sure that everyone has that in front of them because we're going to be referring to the book Lead Right by Steve Ventura quite a bit this evening. So I want to thank everyone for joining me, and thank you for coming again to the second installment of our managerial series. If you turn to page 2 of our PowerPoint presentation, I want to talk briefly about our current status. Right now, the CEOs have acknowledged that there is a lack of morale that has affected our team members at this point. Excuse me. So, what we've decided, what the CEOs have decided, is for all of us managers to get together and kind of refresh some of the important points or aspects to what makes a great manager. So I do appreciate Carrie's presentation last month on team building and teamwork. So I want to say she did a fabulous job with that. This month, you were required to do a reading, Steve Ventura's Lead Right, and the PowerPoint slides directly reference the material that we covered there. And I want to stress some specifics with regards to key points that Ventura stated in his book. So if we could get started, if you go to slide 3, I kind of laid out an agenda of what we're going to talk about tonight. Please remember that when we're talking about leadership, it is 50% mindset and 50% action. So what we're going to be talking tonight is the key points of remembering the luxuries that you no longer have when you took this position, accept that your results now come through others, and we're going to discuss a little bit about what it means to be a leader. So if you'll follow me to slide 4, with regards to remembering that you no longer have certain liberties or luxuries once you took the managerial position. Basically, what this means is you have perks associated with the job, which are fabulous. And along with those perks, you have responsibilities. And some of those responsibilities require you to not wear your heart on your sleeve. And it's also important to not listen to basically the gossip around the office. Make sure that you're remembering to put the needs of your team first, and so on and so forth. If you follow me to slide 5, it talks about accepting that your results now come through others. Basically, what this means is the successes and or failures that your team goes through strictly belong to you as their leader. So you're not being judged as an individual at this point. You're being judged on how well or how poorly your team does. Also, it's important to make sure that you keep the focus on your team. Make sure that you're helping them to do well and succeed because their successes are your successes. We go on to slide 6. I just wanted to include some statistical data on productivity and how important it is to keep your team members happy. On average, 31% of companies have experienced increased productivity that is directly related to how happy or how successful their team members do or are. So please remember that that is something that we should strive for on a daily basis. On slide 7, we talk about being a leader and what that means. Sometimes you have to wear different hats as a leader. Sometimes you need to make the distinction, the clear distinction within your team members on what type of leader you are. Unfortunately, there can be areas of people can misconstrue this on some occasions. So it's important to be someone that your team members can look up to, and remember that you are not their pal, neither are you their boss. Ventura discusses that a majority of the time, authoritative approaches stifle the creative processes. So you need to make sure that you are not being a dictator to your team and allowing them to basically become empowered, inspired, and enabled by your presence and your leadership styles. With regards to sometimes having to wear the friend hat, it's important that your team members do not see you as a pal. You need to be able to maintain subjectivity, and you don't want to create any confusion within your team. So be sure that you are not being a dictator, and be sure that you just strive to make sure that everyone feels that you are fostering an environment of creativity, and you want your team members to succeed. Make sure they feel that. And lastly, on slide 8, to conclude the readings that we the reading that we did with Steve Ventura and his book Lead Right, it's important to remember that with great leadership comes great responsibility. You need to make sure that you're always putting your team members first. And just remember that your team's successes and your team's failures are your successes and your failures. So I want to thank everyone for joining me this evening. I know that Harry had some issues out in San Francisco, and I hope those are resolved. So, but if you need anything and any of us could be of any assistance, please feel free to give us a call. But otherwise, I know everyone has a great job to do out there today, and I hope and wish you all the best. Thank you for joining us on this managerial leadership installment. Take care.